the gospel and the Torah that were in the time of Muhammad are still the same message as what we have today, and we can confirm that. So we know that what was affirmed by Allah and Muhammad in the Quran, in the Hadith, in all of Islam is actually what we still have today, and even what we had before Muhammad. So I believe that that's where we left off. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And what would that mean for you if what I'm saying is accurate?
I mean, I don't think it would mean too much. There were some scholars in Islam that did believe that the whole Bible is the actual Injil. I don't take that view. I don't hold that view. But there are some scholars that did believe it, and that's still not really a defeater for Islam. That didn't take them outside the fold of Islam. You can believe that and believe that the Christian's interpretation of that is not true.
Okay, well, where I would like to go off of is one of the last things that we were saying was we showed that in the Quran, the gospel that the Jews and the Christians had at the time of Muhammad was with them, according to the Quran. And then what we showed was that we had what existed prior to that in the Dead Sea Scrolls. The only thing that's ever existed in all of time, we have it. Don't you think that given that there's no evidence of any other Injil or Torah that can be found, don't you see the issues with the argument of just positing an imaginary Injil? Don't you see how that sounds just on a basic common sense level?
Well, I don't see it as positing an imaginary Injil, because like I said, the Islamic view of what the Injil is what was revealed to Jesus. Now, let's forget about the fact that I believe that the gospel authors are anonymous. Let's forget that. Even then, they're not claiming that this is what was revealed to Jesus. They're claiming that this is the inspired word of God. It's basically a biography of Jesus. Right? That's what the New Testament is. It's a biography of Jesus.
And his teachings as well.
Sure, and his teachings as well. I would agree that his teachings are what was revealed to him. Now, you don't have the complete thing, but you do have remnants of his teachings, which was the Injil.
Okay, but what we were saying, like, for instance, the only thing that we have in existence, we have evidence for. That this specific claim, I'm just going to try and square with you. And then if this doesn't go, then I'll go polemically to the Quran. But I'm just going to try and square with you because you seem to be, you're very polite. What I mean by a mystery Injil is that, like you, for instance, you said you agreed that the Torah and the gospel was written down, right?
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I haven't done my research into that, but let's go with that it was, sure.
The Quran does say that it was written down.
Okay, it was written down. Yeah.
So it was written down. Okay. And in the Quran, it says that the Jews and the Christians have that with them.
At what time?
At the time of Muhammad. In the Quran, Allah speaking to Muhammad, and he's saying that the Jews and the Christians have the Torah and the Injil with them. Masedikum lima bayna yadehi, which means what they have in between their hands. We're just talking about what they have.
Can we pull up that verse? So
it says, and believe in what I have set down, which verifies what is already with you. And the Arabic says, Musedikum yadehi, which means between their hands. So we can agree that the Quran says that what they have is with them, correct?
Yep.
And we talked about earlier how Muhammad was asked if he's in doubt about the Quran to judge by these scriptures. First of all, can we agree that the Torah and the Injil that's at the time of Muhammad is not corrupted, right?
As far as I know, the Quran uses Injil in two different ways. All right. There's the first way, which is talking about what was revealed to Jesus, and there's the second way, which is referring to the Gospels, which is what you have between your hands.
Can I say one thing about that? This category about supposedly what was revealed to Jesus versus what his apostles wrote about his life, his words and deeds. This is an artificial category that has been made up by Muslims. You just need to understand that. Like when I hear this, there's just
why is it an artificial category?
There's no such thing as that in history. There's only the Gospels are the written accounts of the life, death, burial, resurrection, words and acts of Jesus. Those are the gospels. They are the writings. There isn't this
Written by who though?
by the apostles, because I'm going to challenge you to find in the 25,000 plus manuscripts that we have of the New Testament in Greek, in Latin, and these are many early. Find me a gospel that starts without the heading, the gospel according to Matthew, the gospel according to Luke, the gospel according to Mark, the gospel according to John.
Do you think that means that it was written by them?
Yes,
Yeah.
they signed their names.
But that title means the exact opposite. The
What
Bible, it
means-
says the Bible according to Mark or Matthew, Luke, or John. It doesn't say the Bible written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John.
No, you're looking at writings, and at the very beginning, they tell you these are
Right.
writings. They're according to who? Matthew, who was one of the apostles. He was the tax collector.
Yeah. So it's someone writing something down that's attributing it's according to Mark. So let me give you an example.
Well,
I can
they're
say
not-
that my
wait,
friend
wait,
John said,
Point.
yeah,
That means
okay,
they're not
sorry. Yeah.
anonymous, though. No one
Right.
ever believed they were anonymous. They were quoted, like, for example, in the 2nd century, we have church leaders who were pastoring the churches that the apostles founded, and they'll quote something from Matthew, and they'll say, Matthew wrote this, Mark wrote this, Luke wrote this. They were never in question. What I'm telling you
Yeah,
is
I'm not denying that people believed it. Of course,
So-
people believed it.
the claim, though, that they're anonymous is a recent innovation, and there's no proof for it. Do you know why?
Yeah.
The Bible is the most investigated book in the history of the world. And after 1900 years, no one has ever presented the name of one person anywhere in history who could have been the anonymous source for any of the gospels. After 1900 years, what do we have?
Hold
We
on.
have Matthew,
Listen,
Mark,
respectfully, what you said doesn't make sense. No one can point to the person who is the anonymous author. That's the point. It's anonymous.
No,
We don't know who
he
wrote
He didn't say no one can point to the anonymous author. What he said is that everybody has been in complete lockstep that the authors are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Basically, all Christians in history believe that these were written by the disciples. I'm not disputing that at all.
It's not
So-
just Christians. The vast
Even
majority,
unbelievers.
the consensus of historians is that this was written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It's not just Christians. This is not debated by anyone except for Muslims.
I would happen to agree. I'd very much disagree with that. There's quite a few Christian scholars that still call themselves Christians that admit that it's anonymous.
No, they would be unbelievers.
I agree that you would consider them to be heretics, but they still say it. If you want, I can bring you a list of the scholars that do say it.
Everyone claims they're a Christian, but that even the Bible teaches us that's not true. The reason why they're claiming the Gospels are anonymous, or at least Muslims use this argument, is simply this, whether you want to accept it or not. Anyone reading the Gospels knows that what Muhammad taught was false, contradicts what Jesus and his apostles taught blatantly. It's a foreign religion, has no relation to what they taught. And so what the Muslim has to do then is attack the source so that we'll reject it and then listen to you. And what we're saying is the attacks are false and they're not going to work. All the manuscripts that we have in our possession tell us who the authors were, and no evidence has been found to the contrary. So it's just a claim like a fairy tale, like the moon is made out of Swiss cheese. You can say it really loud and claim you believe it, but there's no truth to it. There are no other authors to the Gospels except the ones that we've been told for 2,000 years.
Listen, I do have a list of Christian scholars that do say that it's anonymous. If I bring these scholars up, are you just going to throw them under the bus? Like, is there a point in bringing them up, or should I tell you?
There's a plethora of scholars that, in fact, the church fathers, like you guys believe that you believe in your isnad, you would go through the chain. What we have is a chain of authorship. So we have a chain of authorship of consensus of church fathers who all agree that these are who wrote these books. So even if you can provide an external source, you have to agree that it would be the same as like me. Like imagine if you switched it. If I were to just say, okay, somebody else, and then say that they're a Muslim scholar, but they would not be in agreement with Ibn Kathir, they would not be in agreement with the Isnad. Why would you accept that? And you have an Isnad. So you see what I'm saying? Like you're turning it around and then you're like, when we have it's not a chain of authorship.
Listen,
you're going to in somebody else, but you wouldn't accept that for your own.
I understand what you're saying, but if there was modern scholarship that could say that we don't actually know if the Quran is in line with what was revealed to Muhammad, like they say, okay, we have manuscripts that contradict what we have today. Okay, that doesn't exist in the Islamic corpus. So anyone that says that would get thrown under the bus because the evidence does not stand.
The early Muslims did not agree on what the Quran was.
The current Muslims don't actually agree on what the Quran says. So most people are familiar with Hafs, for example, but there's Warsh, there's other Qurans.
Morocco reads a
That's all one Quran. That's all one Quran.
And they do contradict each other.
Why did Uthman gather together all the Qurans in his day and burn them?
Oh, I love this argument. Okay, that's actually a proof of the preservation of the Quran. It's not the other way around. The hadith you're referring to is when Uthman, he didn't just blanketly burn all the Qurans. He brought the most prominent Sahaba, companions of the Prophet Muhammad, which memorized the Quran, and he brought them together to create the standard Quran that everyone has to go back to. This is the standard. This is the Quran. Now, everyone else's Quran had their own footnotes in there. They had their own writings and their own things like hadith of the Prophet Muhammad that they had next to the verse to say this is what Prophet Muhammad was talking about. He had all of those burnt so that there was no confusion. No one can say, oh, this is part of the Quran. He had all of those burnt and got all the prominent companions to create not create the Quran, but to bring it all together in one standard Quran that everyone has to go back to. That's what he done. He preserved the Quran for us, not the other way around.
Well, I really don't actually want to go down this rabbit hole right now because I do think it's important. But I did want to bring this up that what you're putting forth is not a proof of preservation. It's actually a proof of not preservation. And we see this in the very next sentence. It's very concerning because they actually left out parts of the Quran. And there's other ways that parts of the Quran were permanently destroyed, forgotten, lost, etc. Very, very bad look for the perfectly preserved Quran that Allah himself reveals is not perfectly preserved. So that's a problem. But what I do want to say is, why would it matter if the gospel was written down by someone anonymous? Why would it matter at all if it's the words of Allah and Allah claims that he is the one who revealed it? So why would it matter?
Like I said, I disagree that that's what Allah revealed, but it does matter because who is this person? It could be some random fisherman. Sorry for being rude about it, but it could be anyone. What, you're just gonna take religious doctrine from them?
I mean, so
Muhammad was not a pedophile. You know this.
Yeah, he was. And so you accept the
Don't bring the presentism. Don't bring the presentism fallacy into this.
You're the
No. I was saying it could have been written by a pedophile. I know, but I didn't bring it up about the Prophet Muhammad.
You did. You brought it up. When he had sex with her, she was playing with dolls when he went to have sex with her. Dolls were not permitted for those who had reached the age of puberty. So yeah, she was prepubescent. What do you mean?
She was not prepubescent. She herself claims that she went through puberty. Okay, she herself says this.
She didn't get her period until she was well into her teens. That's number one. The point that Elle was making was, so what if the Torah and the Gospels, or the Gospels that we're talking right now about being a so-called anonymous, which they're not, if they are the word of Allah, which the Quran calls the word of Allah, who cares whether or not we know who the authors are? That is what she's talking
about. You're going off a paradigm that I don't agree with. I don't agree that it's the words of Allah.
But not agreeing is not the same thing as providing evidence to the contrary.
Yeah, okay. You want evidence from the Quran that people attributed words of God to God? That they wrote with their own hands and attributed it to God?
Yeah, people do that all the time. So like we have Mormonism, we have Jehovah's Witnesses, we have Islam. People claim things are from God all the time when they're not. Exactly like Muhammad did. And here's a passage that shows that Aisha was playing with dolls. So that's a problem. If she had reached puberty, it clearly shows in this passage that she had not reached puberty. In fact, it even says that here. The playing with dolls and similar images is forbidden, but it was allowed for Aisha at that time as she was a little girl, not yet reached
Yes.
the age of puberty.
Yes, that was before he consummated the marriage.
Now, but you can pull
At
up, but there's
9
another
years
hadith
old.
that says that when she married him, while she was married to him, she was playing with dolls. They have another hadith.
I agree. She got married at 6 and he consummated the marriage at 9.
But she was playing with
You
dolls.
admit
It
that?
goes on and it says that.
Of course I admit that, but it's not being a pedophile.
That's
This
not
whole
being
idea.
hit puberty, which means the God of Islam can't possibly be the God of Abraham that we find in the Bible.
Yes, this is an unholy, wicked God that promotes pedophilia and child.
Hold on, listen. What you guys are bringing forward is presentism. Hold on. Let me just say this. You guys are bringing forward presentism. You're using modern standards of morality and projecting that onto the Prophet Muhammad. Just like how Mary was 12 when she gave birth, and Rebecca was 3 when the Prophet married her.
Well, okay, Sunan an-Nasai 3,378. It was narrated that Aisha said, the messenger of Allah married me when I was 6 and consummated the marriage with me when I was 9, and I used to play with dolls.
Okay.
She was 9 and he had sex with her. She was still playing with dolls, okay? So
Hold on. She said I used to play with dolls. It doesn't say whether she was 6 or 9 at the time of her playing the dolls.
Wait,
When I was 9 and I used to play with dolls. Reading comprehension.
Look, wait, marry me when?
He married at the age of 6 and consummated the marriage at the age of 9.
Read the title
Right.
of the
Yes.
chapter. The chapter
He was a
title.
pedophile.
Right. What's
Read
the
the
name of the
chapter
chapter?
Consummation of marriage with a girl of 9.
It says that she used to play with dolls at that time, correct?
Okay, she used to play with dolls, yeah.
She consummated the marriage with Muhammad and used to play with dolls. This is at the same time period.
So if I'm able to show that it truly was that she was 9 when she was playing with dolls, would you call Muhammad a pedophile?
No,
Okay, why not?
because from what I'm reading in this text, it doesn't say that she was playing with the dolls when she was.
If I was able to show it, would you call him a pedophile?
I'm not sure. Show me.
Well,
Okay.
it's right there. Who cares when she played with the dolls? It
Is
says
he a
const-
pedophile if he had sex with a prepubescent girl? Yes or no?
If he had to the prepubescent girl yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Glad we agree. Here's another one. This is Sahih Muslim 1422c. The Book of Marriage. Chapter. It is permissible for a father to arrange the marriage of a young virgin. Aisha, Allah be pleased with her, reported that Allah's apostle married her when she was 7 years old, and he was taken to his house as a bride when she was 9, and her dolls were with her. And when he, the Holy Prophet, died, she was 18 years old. So her dolls were with her.
Okay, her dolls were with her. Hold on. In the previous hadith you brought up, did it say that she's not allowed to play with it because she's prepubescent or because she's a little girl?
You're not allowed to play with dolls if you are post-pubescent.
Does it say post-pubescent? Like,
Yeah.
Sorry, can we bring up that other one first?
The
the
first
doll
one?
issue.
Yeah, the doll issue, yeah.
This is irrelevant.
Oh, no,
Play with
it's very
dolls.
relevant because you're using the doll to say that she was prepubescent.
I'm not just saying this. The scholars say this.
Okay, hold on. I used to play with dolls in the presence of Allah. My girlfriends also used to play with me. When Allah's apostle entered, they used to hide themselves, but the Prophet would call them to join them and play with me. The playing with the dolls, similar images, is forbidden, but it is allowed for Aisha at the time, for she was a little girl and not yet reached the age of puberty.
So why
no,
was she
what?
allowed to play with dolls? According to this, why?
Okay, hold on. I'm not too sure, but
You're not too
it
sure.
could be. Hold on. It could be that she reached puberty later later in the year. So let's say she turned 9. She's still playing with dolls. Later on in the year, she hit puberty.
With her, she was playing with
he
dolls.
had sex with her when she was 9 years old and she was prepubescent, still playing with dolls. Not only that.
No.
We have other hadiths about Aisha being 9 years old as Muhammad's so-called wife, where her friends are playing with her as well. She was a child. She was a child. So what do you mean? Wait, hold on. It's right there in front of you. Muhammad was in fact a pedophile who had sex with a 9-year-old girl when he was 56 years old. There's no way for you to turn around and jump through hoops here.
Hold on, I'm not denying the ages at all.
Yeah, she was.
I'm not denying the ages at all.
She was prepubescent. She wasn't even developed fully as a woman.
We don't know that she was prepubescent. Okay,
she was playing with dolls. We literally read the hadith where it says that she was allowed to play with dolls because she has not yet reached the age of puberty. This is why we have little girls in Afghanistan being married off to old crusty old men because of what Muhammad did.
No, don't bring that out. You think white Christians don't do that either? You think white Christians don't do that either?
White?
Okay. No. Muhammad is your form of conduct. Muhammad is the one that you need to follow. He is the.
I understand, but this is this is a very modern argument. For like 1,000. Hold on, for like 2,000 years, Christians have been marrying prepubescent girls. That's not disputed.
No, you're a liar.
Yes.
You're a liar.
But let's
Oh, no. I'm not lying. Still, even in the United States, you can get married at the age of 10.
No. And it doesn't matter. Here's the end. Here's what it is, okay? Muhammad is your prophet. Muhammad is the perfect pattern of conduct for all Muslims. I don't give a damn what anybody else has done. Okay, Muhammad is your prophet. Muhammad is the one that you got to go ahead and follow. So some king in Europe could have done anything. He's not some prophet.
No, not some king in Europe. It was a common practice up until the modern age.
It doesn't matter. Slavery was a common practice, okay? Slavery was a common practice that was looked upon normal.
With Christians, right?
Okay, it doesn't.
With Christians, like Christians done slavery too, right?
Slavery. Muhammad was a slave trader.
Hold on. Christians did not abolish slavery.
Yes, they did.
Christians did not. No.
Yes, they did. But
listen.
Let's get back to the point. No, you listen because you keep
Hold on.
me. No.
That's rubbish. Christians done slavery. You think that the Americans that enslaved the black people, didn't use the lens of the Bible?
You're jumping from topics. Listen to me. No, we're not doing this right now.
No, you brought this up. You brought up the slavery.
Everybody's not. You brought up the
Relax. This is not gonna be able to just go over. He's
not listening to the point that I was making.
Of course, he's not, because he's a Muslim. But that's fine. I'm gonna. I
don't like pedophile apologists.
Anybody who's reasonable does not like that. I'm aware of that. So let me ask this question. Let's say that Christians, they claim to be Christians, were pedophiles. I can say they were pedophiles and they were wrong. You use that as a whataboutism to say, oh yeah, well, Muhammad did that. These people did that too. Okay, well, I'm saying they're evil and wrong. Can you say the same about Muhammad?
But hold on. Listen.
No, hold on.
Let me just say.
Yes, no, please.
I'm conceding with you. I'm going to ask you again. You said don't use a present day fallacy. Okay, fair enough. You used the whataboutism. You said, oh, what about the Christians who were doing the same thing?
I agree. I did.
Fair enough. Those people who did that, anybody in any time, was evil and wrong. And pedophiles, can you say the same thing about this?
Yes, I can. We do have different readings of the hadith, but I do just want to listen. I do
too, just like those guys. Then
no. Hold on.
Why?
We do have different readings of the hadith. Okay, I don't see it as that. She was playing with dolls when she was 9. Did she hit puberty at that time when she was playing with the dolls? We don't know for sure.
Not yet reached the age of puberty.
I know, but she might have reached the age of puberty later on in that. There's 365 days where in any one of those days she could have hit puberty. You're just taking it as she hit puberty and she was playing with the dolls. She might have been playing with the dolls, and then 60 days later she hit puberty. and that's it. It's resolved.
You're right in that she could have reached puberty after he raped her. Yes.
Well, she was 12 years old when she got her first period because of even when she got married to Muhammad. When she married Muhammad, before he was able to even go ahead and do anything with her, her mother had to stuff her with food, dates and cucumbers. She had to stuff her with food. She was not a healthy child. There's hadith about her hair falling out. She has not got, and during that period of time in Arabia, the girls were malnutritioned. There is authentic hadith where it says that Aisha did not get her first period until she was 12. So yes.
Can you bring those hadith?
Okay. If we show you authentic hadith that when she was 12 was when she got her period, will you then accept that she had sex with Muhammad before she was pubescent?
If we agree on the reading of the hadith, yes, sure.
If it's sahih, then
it could be sahih. Like this is sahih, but we disagreed on the reading of the hadith.
What's the point? What's the point?
What's the point then? If you're gonna throw it away because you don't like it,
I'm not throwing it away. What I said is a very valid argument, and she agreed. You actually conceded that point that she might have reached puberty later on.
She could have reached puberty after he raped her. That's what I conceded. That she could have reached puberty after he raped her. I agree.
It wasn't.
If you knew a 51 or so year old man, and he told you he was interested in, he had the hots for a 6-year-old girl, what would you think of such a man?
He's gonna say.
And if it was your daughter, what would you think of such a man? 51-year-old.
In this, hold on. Okay, I'll answer that, but let me finish the whole argument. Okay, in this day and age, I would not allow it. Okay, and I'll tell you why. Right now, there's a very modern way of doing things. There's a modern schooling system. People go to school until the age of 18 and stuff. People don't actually have that level of maturity that they did back in the days. Now, Islam doesn't just have a bodily, a bodily criteria for when you can marry a girl and have sex with her. It's also about mental stability, mental readiness, and physical readiness. All of these criteria have to be met. Now, in this day and age,
show me where it says that.
She's playing with dolls.
Well, I asked the.
I'd have to find the hadith for you.
It doesn't
But
exist.
I asked you a simple question.
Before you go,
what do you think of a 51-year-old man lusting after a 6-year-old girl? Do you think such a man is normal, or there is something perverted about such a man? That's what I asked you. Any age, any period of time. 51-year-old man lusting after a 6-year-old girl. 2000.
The way that.
Do you think that's
the way that you're wording it? The way that you're wording it, I would say that it's wrong. The way that you're saying lusting after, but especially back in the days, it wasn't always about lust. People got married for very practical reasons.
Practical. He had 13 wives already. What does he need with a little girl except that he was a?
Hold on. Also, listen. Basically, Prophet Muhammad was basically the king of Arabia. Okay, we could say that if he just use logic. If he truly was a pedophile, why didn't he have 26 6-year-old girls waiting there ready for him? Why didn't he do that? He could have. He had the ability.
It doesn't. How many little girls do you have to have sex with in order to be a pedophile?
Listen, just one. But you're not understanding what I'm saying. He had the ability to. Why did he not?
Let's pause. So you said, why would he not have done multiple? We just said it doesn't require multiple. It only takes one. That's out the window. Okay, forget it.
No, it's not out the window. You're just throwing out the logic.
No.
Anyone that
we also lusted after a crawling baby who was nursing age. So
listen, guys. Here's what we're gonna do.
Plus, I don't know where you get lusting after. It doesn't say that anywhere in the hadith.
He isn't gonna see it the same way. Let's do this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What if I were to show you that from your Quran you are allowed to have sex with prepubescent girls? If your Quran said that, would you agree that that's wrong? If it said that.
If it said that, sure.
Okay. Can you bring, please?
yes.
More proof that the God of Islam is not the God of Abraham.
That would be 65 4, right?
I know this is a bit of a tangent, but how old was Mary when she gave birth to Jesus?
So, nope. First of all, it's a bit of a tangent. I'm going to answer this very
It is. It is. I'll accept that. Yeah,
tangent,
it is tangent.
we're going to get back to the point. First of all, no one knows how old Mary was. The text does not say. Second of all, you can refer to a place in the Catholic Encyclopedia where they say at that time women could have been 13. That does not mean that we know how old Mary was. Third of all, it was an immaculate conception. So Mary did not have intercourse with a man. I've answered that. Done with that. Back to the topic.
You know what? I'll let that one go. I do have more to say on that, but we'll let that go. It was a tangent. I agree.
It's definitely a tangent, and the answers that I gave are correct. No one knows. Catholic Encyclopedia does not speak about Mary. Thirdly, if it's an immaculate conception, there was no sex involved. It doesn't matter.
No, that doesn't make it irrelevant. Hold on. I'll tell you why. Why didn't God put the baby in her when she was 18 and fully developed?
We're saying that it's wrong to have sex with a prepubescent girl. Let's not get it confused. We're not saying that it's wrong for God to give a child to someone at a certain age. One, you have no evidence that she was 13. Two,
12.
by bringing 12. Two, by bringing it up, you're saying, okay, it's relevant, as in that justifies this. Thirdly, we're talking about the act of a man having sex with a child. That's the problem. That's our argument. So to talk about that, put immaculately conceiving, that's not what we're talking about.
Then I guess Rebecca would be the issue at that point.
Well, we're not
being 3 years old.
In the Bible, Mary is called a woman. The angel comes to her and says, "Blessed are thou amongst women." So
I know, because once they hit puberty, they're considered women.
I can say she was 18, and you can't refute it. I will not concede that she was 12 or 13.
Right.
She's called a woman in the Bible. Therefore, I say she was at least 18, and you have absolutely no way to disprove that.
To the contrary.
So this is a red herring.
Hold on. Can you use the Bible to prove that a woman is over 18?
No. We're not going to the Bible. We're going to go back now where the Quran says it's okay for you to.
Okay, let's bring that up. I agree. This was all a tangent. Let's go back to that. I agree.
Where Muslim men can have sex and divorce girls before they've ever hit puberty.
Okay, here we go. So this sir is about to list 3 categories of women. The first one we're gonna see, it says, and those who no longer expect menstruation among your women. These are people who have menopause. If you're in doubt, their period, Ida. Are you aware of what an Ida is?
No.
You don't know what it is.
Idda is a waiting period. Yeah, the Idda is the waiting period, 3 months.
Are you aware that you only have an Idda for a woman that you've had intercourse with? Are you already aware of that? Do we have to pull the source up to show you that?
Look, I was not aware of that, but we'll go with it. I believe it.
You okay? Well, we can pull it up.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
No, I believe you.
Okay, you believe it. You can only the only women, if you have an Idda, then that means that you've already had sex with them, because the Idda is the waiting period to make sure that they're not pregnant. Okay, so here we go. This is going to list 3 categories of women. He said, and those who no longer expect menstruation among your women, if you're in doubt, their period is 3 months. That's women in menopause. Also, those who have not menstruated. It actually says those who have not yet menstruated. That's what it actually says. And those who are pregnant, their term is until they give birth. So it lists 3 categories. In menopause, if they have not yet menstruated, is actually what the Arabic says. And for those who are pregnant, their term is until they give birth. There is an Idda for all of these women, which means that they've been married, had sex with, and they're being divorced. And that includes the ones who have not yet menstruated.
Divorced and remarried, because you don't need an Idda if you're not being remarried.
Right. If you haven't had intercourse, you don't need an Idda. Not married. You have to have had intercourse in order to have an Idda. So right here, you agree that one of the women in this category are those who have not yet menstruated, correct? That means that girls who have not yet had their period are being married, had sex with, and divorced, and this is allowed in your Quran.
I would disagree with you, and I'll tell you why.
And let's see what the tafsir says. Let's go to the tafsir.
I'm not going to the tafsir.
Oh, you're not going to the tafsir.
Of
Why
course
not?
Hold on. Bring up the. That's fine. Bring up the tafsir. But a scholarly opinion is not a obligation upon me.
Stop.
But it's
All-
literally what it says in the
They're
Arabic
saying,
too.
okay, Allah the Exalted clarifies the waiting period of the woman in menopause, and that is the one whose menstruation has stopped due to her old age. Her iddah is 3 months instead of the 3 monthly cycles for those who menstruate, which is based upon the ayat in Surah Al-Baqarah. The same for the young who have not yet reached the years of menstruation. Their iddah is 3 months like those in menopause. That's okay. Go down to the next tafsir. Because all of them say the same thing. Every single one of them say the same thing. It says, and this is more obvious, supporting this view is reported from Ubay ibn Qadda, said Allah's messenger, some women are not mentioned in the Quran, the young, the old, and the pregnant. Prescribing the iddah of divorce, some people said there's still some women whose iddah has not been mentioned in the Quran. The young, the old, whose menstruation is discontinued, and the pregnant. So what this means by not yet menstruated is that they are young. These are little girls who have not yet reached the years of menstruation, who are being married, slept with, and divorced. And continuing.
Hold on. You can bring as many tafsir as you want. I'm saying that if you take that verse in isolation,
You
No,
reject
no.
the tafsir.
You
So
reject
all
it.
these Muslim scholars don't know what they're talking about, but
reject
you,
the
sir, you
Quran.
know.
Your Quran says that there's 3 categories, and iddah is only for someone who you've had sex with them already. In the Quran, it says for those who have not yet menstruated yet. Then when we go to the explanation, which you're happy to find an interpretation for something that supports you when you like it, you're happy to do that. And sometimes there's debate.
I've never done that, but sure.
Okay, well, fine.
I never mentioned any tafsir in anywhere in this conversation at this time or our previous call.
So how do you go ahead and exegete the scripture? Do you just make it up and from your mind? You're telling me that
I'm saying if you take the verse in isolation, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you take this verse in isolation, I see what you're talking about. But we don't take this verse in isolation. Now, there is a ruling that we are not allowed to have sex with prepubescent girls. You all agree with that, right?
No, all your no. Guess what?
Your
These tafsirs in this Quran verse is not something that is disputed by any Muslim scholar. Matter of fact, all 4 schools of Islamic jurisprudence, which determine the laws that are for the Sharia of the time, all 4 of them agree with these tafsirs. All of the Muslim jurisprudence, the Quran verse, every single interpretation of the tafsir, and all 4 of your Islamic schools, which are acted out, all agree that it's about girls who have not yet been prepubescent. It even lists things about how to deal with it if they happen to be too small, and you could possibly split the 2 holes into one. This is
we're definitely going to have disagreements on this, okay? But let's just go with what you're saying. I don't agree, but let's just go with what you're saying. Hold on. This is a claim.
You disagree with Allah and your scholars. That's who you disagree with.
Whatever.
And all of the Islamic jurisprudence.
Let's say all of Let's say all of this is right, okay? I don't agree, but let's say all of this is correct and you're allowed to have sex with prepubescent girls and all that. I'm not saying it's right, it's wrong. You're not allowed to have sex with prepubescent girls. But even if it is saying what you're saying, how is this a defeater for Islam? How does this prove that the Quran is not from God? How does this prove that all of this is wrong? You're bringing a morality claim.
You claimed that Muhammad wasn't a pedophile.
Right, we're saying
he's not. But let's say he was.
This is why this is brought up. You said Muhammad was not a pedophile. Therefore, here, and we were said, hey, if we can show you that Muhammad.
I said that because you guys claimed that he was. You guys claimed that he was.
No. You just brought up pedophile. Oh, we don't know who wrote the Gospels. Maybe he was a pedophile. I said maybe like Muhammad. And then this is
I
now we are here now because of that.
We didn't bring
Okay, but I mentioned like two other categories that you guys are completely ignoring. That's not where the conversation was meant to go. But either
So do
way,
you
this is a
agree with
morality. Hold on.
So do you
No,
agree
I
with
don't.
the
But this
pedophile?
is a morality claim. It doesn't
Yes.
disprove or disprove
No, this
anything.
wasn't
no,
a morality claim.
Time out. You said if the Quran allowed for sex with prepubescent girls, that it would be wrong to do so. You consented that. Now we see the Quran, or rather this side, the Quran does actually enable sex and divorce with prepubescent girls. And that's supposedly from your God. That's a false evil God.
Correct.
And even top Islamic
Listen.
da'is agree. And I do want to show this real quick because I think that this,
Listen, just so that you understand what I'm saying, I would say that a person who beats his slave with a rod almost to death and gets away with it with no punishment, I'd say that's evil. But does it disprove the Bible? No.
No. You said that it was going to be wrong. We're not pointing. We're just saying we're just bringing back claims that you made. You said
Okay. Let's say I believe that it's wrong to have sex with prepubescent girls, and I believe that it's wrong to beat your slave with a rod. I believe all of these things. It doesn't disprove anything.
Okay.
Yeah, you said. Is it wrong to beat slaves? Yes or no?
It can be, and it can't.
Wait, now
it can be.
Okay. So now it can be okay to beat slaves. All right. Is it wrong to smile while a slave is being beaten? Yes or no?
I would say yeah.
Cool. So Muhammad was evil and wrong. So we see right here.
Hold on, but why was he being beaten?
So now
No, it's not now. Okay, hold on. Do you guys agree that it's wrong to beat your slave?
Wait, he was smiling while he was beating him.
Sunan Abi Dawud, 1818, narrated Asma bint Abu Bakr. We came out performing Hajj along with the messenger of Allah. When we reached Al-Araj, the messenger of Allah aligned, and we also alighted. Aisha sat beside the messenger of Allah, and I sat beside my father, Abu Bakr. The equipment and personal effects of Abu Bakr and the messenger of Allah were placed with Abu Bakr's slave on a camel. Abu Bakr was sitting and waiting for his arrival. He arrived, but he had no camel with him. He asked, "Where is your camel?" He replied, "I lost it at night." Abu Bakr said, "There was only one camel, even that you have lost." He then began to beat him while the messenger of Allah was smiling and said, "Look at this man who is in the sacred state, putting on Ihram. What is he doing?" Ibn Abu Rizam said, "The messenger of Allah spoke nothing except the words, 'Look at this man who is in sacred state, wearing Ihram. What is he doing?' He was smiling when he uttered these words." So he is watching this slave being beaten and smiling while he is watching slave beating. You may now speak.
And he's the best example while doing this?
Yeah, that probably is the best example. Like I said, this doesn't disprove anything. It doesn't falsify Islam.
Okay, so that's the answer. He could be the most degenerate person, and he was. Then that doesn't prove Islam to be false. That's just
Hold on. Listen, I'll tell you what. If there was a contradiction where it said in the Quran, you're not allowed to beat a slave when he makes a mistake, and then he does that, okay, that's a contradiction. You have a point there. That falsifies Islam.
So it's okay for Allah to endorse of prepubescent children, and it's okay for the best example for all mankind to smile while a slave is being beaten. Well,
listen, with the second one, sure, I agree with that. That happened. I don't deny that at all. But the first one, I don't agree with. But you guys are not understanding my point. You're brushing over it. It's not a defeater. You aren't bringing a contradiction. You aren't bringing something that can't be reconciled. You aren't bringing something that falsifies Islam.
All right. So yeah, I would be happy to bring up contradictions. That said, that was not how we got onto this. There are so many tangents removed. I want to play this video. here is what one of Islam's top da'is says about the Quran, which we read about the children.
That all the scholars agree with.
Chapter 65, verse 4. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us who you can divorce and who you cannot divorce. وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ, and the ones who had never been pubescent before. Actually, it says لَمْ يَحِدْنَ. They never had puberty before. You can't go around that. The Quran doesn't say anywhere in the Quran that the woman has to be pubescent. So if you're Quran alone, you're allowed to have sexual intercourse with 5-year-olds. Get me one verse in the Quran which says the woman has to be pubescent.
Okay, see what he said there was if you use the Quran alone. In other words, you have to bring hadith corpus into the mix to understand the verse of Quran, like what I was telling you before.
And when we went to hadith, what did we see? We saw Muhammad had sex with Aisha when she was prepubescent, still playing with dolls because she had not yet reached the age.
We disagree on the reading of that hadith.
And then what did Muslim ask? He wanted to see, okay, if it says it in the Quran. Therefore it would be wrong.
That's what you said.
And then we brought you to the Quran.
Yeah, and now that you see.
Okay, but in light of what that verse, in light of what Muhammad Hijab was saying, he's saying you need to bring in the hadith to explain that verse.
And when we go to hadith, we see that Muhammad had sex with a prepubescent girl while she was still.
We disagree on that reading. That's what I'm saying. We disagree on that reading.
You disagree.
There are so many readings that say the same thing.
Yeah, but hold on. So actually,
listen, we're definitely going to disagree on this, okay?
You need to know this. You need to know this. Like your life is actually potentially at stake. So not because of Christians, because of Muslims. If you deny that which scholars attribute to the Quran, that is in a form of apostasy according to Sharia law. You can find this in Reliance of the Traveler. I'm sure you can find this other places as well. If you deny that which pertains to the Quran, as attributed to by scholars, which we showed you what the tafsirs show about surah, about the surah, about the ida. It's very, very crystal clear what these scholars attribute to it. So based on the Quran, if you reject what the Quran says there, that's a problem for you, apostasy-wise. That's already having committed apostasy according to.
But I'm not rejecting what's in the Quran.
Yes, you are.
So the Quran says it's fine to have with and divorce prepubescent girls.
It doesn't. Look, we're going to go in circles here. I don't accept that. We're going to go in circles here. But I'm not rejecting what's in the Quran. I don't accept that. But I'm not rejecting what's in the Quran. I don't accept that. But I'm not rejecting what's in the Quran.
Committed apostasy.
Listen, I haven't committed apostasy. How about this? Listen, I can't research things on my phone while I'm talking to you. How about the next time you have a stream, I'll come up and I'll bring a hadith that explains that verse. Is that fair?
We showed you hadith. Like, I'm happy for you to look into things.
I'll show you different hadiths, okay? Because we're going to go in circles here. I can't
these things, but
listen.
Like,
I can't just bring up hadiths on here like you guys can. Now, I'm not saying that's not fair on you guys to do to me. It's not your fault. But if I exit this and start searching for hadiths, I'm going to drop out of the stream. I can't do it. So how about next time you guys do a stream, I'll bring a hadith that explain that verse. Is that fair?
Okay, yeah. I go on at 2:30 Sundays. Elle will be on at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so 6 p.m. Eastern time, which her 2:30 is 3:30.
Yeah. Fair. I'll be there.
3:30 Eastern for me. Yeah, I keep getting confused.
Fair. I'll be there. I don't know if the stream's about to end, but I just wanted to address what King James said about the sun setting into a murky pond. That's not Allah saying that it sets in a murky pond. That's from
Allah has it in the Quran, but again,
hold on. That's talking about the perspective of Dhul Qarnayn.
That's
but then
actually
the hadith goes on to explain that they found a people group next to it, attributing space and place to it, so it's not metaphorical. You just were.
I didn't say it's metaphorical. I didn't say that. I said it's from the perspective of Dhul Qarnayn, what he saw. So if I say, I saw the sun setting into the ocean, and God says he saw the sun setting into an ocean. God's not saying the sun literally set into the ocean.
No, it said Muhammad. Then you have the chapter where we talk from Muhammad's perspective. When you go into it, it's from Muhammad's perspective. Muhammad is the one claiming the truthfulness of this. So it goes from what Dhul Qarnayn is saying, and then it goes to Muhammad attributing that this is an actual fact.
Real quick, I do have it pulled up, and then I would like to get back to what we actually got on this tangent for, right? Because all of this was because you were concerned about coming with revelations or recording revelations. Who is the Quran the words of?
Quran is the words of God.
Okay. So in Surah 18, Ayah 86, we see the words of the Islamic Allah saying, until when he reached the setting of the sun, he found it setting in a body of dark water, and he found it near a people. We said, O Dhul Qarnayn, either you punish or else adopt among them goodness. So who is saying
Yeah,
that?
he found it setting into a murky pond.
Yeah, so it's
Who's the
not
he?
from
Who's
the
he?
perspective of Dhul Qarnayn. Is
Hold
it
on, who's
from the
he?
perspective of Dhul Qarnayn?
Of
Yes.
course,
No.
he is Dhul Qarnayn.
It's
When it
clearly
says
not from
he
his
found it,
perspective
it's
then.
talking about Dhul Qarnayn. It basically might as well say Dhul Qarnayn found it setting into a muddy pond.
But
Okay,
Allah's
so then
saying it.
there's a narrator, and you already admitted that narrator is Allah, at least the Islamic
Right.
Allah.
Yeah. Look, let's read it. Until he reached the setting of the sun.
Yep.
Yeah, until he reached the setting of the sun, he found it. He found it. Dhul Qarnayn found it.
Right, and Allah is saying that is a fact. Allah is saying that that's what he did.
No, that's not what it's saying.
So Allah's
It
not the one
is.
speaking here.
Listen, you know what? It's a fact that Dhul Qarnayn saw it setting into a murky pond. That's a
He said
fact.
he found it. He said he found it.
Yeah, Dhul Qarnayn found it.
It's right.
scientific.
Setting in a body of dark water. So he's saying that he found it there. Not that it's from his perspective. He said Allah is saying that Dhul Qarnayn found it, the sun, setting in a in a body of dark water. He's saying he found it there.
Yeah, if he found it, that means it's from his perspective.
No.
Who else's perspective is that going to be from? That doesn't make sense.
There is no perspective. He's saying there is no. Look, if that were the case, Allah could have said when he reached the setting of the sun, and from his perspective, it looked like it was as if it were in a pool of muddy water.
It doesn't need to say all that.
You have to.
No, it doesn't.
What it says. You see that the scholars.
I'm not changing it. I'm reading verbatim. Until he reached the setting of the sun, he found it setting into a body of dark water. Who's he?
Did he find it? Did he find it?
In the Quran? Whose word?
Allah is speaking about what Dhul Qarnayn found.
Okay, and did he say that he found it in a setting in a body of dark water?
Yeah, he said he found it setting into a dark body of water.
Okay, so he actually. So is it true that he found the sun in that dark water?
It's true that Dhul Qarnayn found it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not perspective. That's Allah saying that he found it.
It is perspective. That's what he thought he found.
No, where does it say he
and
thought?
Allah
Where does
affirmed
say
it.
he thought?
Allah,
affirmed
yes.
it.
Allah's affirming it. Please, Muslim, listen. Allah's affirming this.
He's saying
He's
he found
not-
it. He didn't say it seemed like it. He's saying he found it. You're saying that he's saying that from his perspective, but Allah doesn't say that. Allah, if what you wanted to be true,
It's clearly from his perspective. There's another verse of the Quran how it talks about the planets going around the orbit of the sun.
Where does it say?
How
from
can
his
these things do?
No,
Where does it say from his
you're
perspective?
trying to put duct tape on it.
No, but here's
No,
the
I'm not
thing.
trying to put duct tape on it.
Where
The
does it
Quran
say?
is very clear about how the sun is in the heavens.
Yeah,
No.
Muslim. The Quran is the words of Allah. It's not like
Yeah, no one's drawing that.
It's not talking about perspective. Allah speaking as in truth, so much so that Muslims take these things that you're saying as if there's some sort of scientific miracle.
This is
Yeah, there's lots of scientific miracles in the Quran.
Where does it say from?
They've been debunked.
They've
Where does
have
it
been.
Oh, yeah.
Where
Muhammad.
They
does it say?
haven't.
Muhammad believed this. It just shows
Where?
that he was not very intelligent.
Right. Where does it say?
What can you? No, 1 second. How
From
can you
his
tell the
perspective.
difference? Yeah, how can you tell the difference between what's from a person's perspective and what's Allah's word? Like
Because
what
if
Allah
it
is
said,
saying.
if Allah said in the Quran, the sun sets into a muddy pool, okay? If Allah said that is what happens, okay? That's making an active claim, okay? It doesn't
but
say that.
He did it.
But he's affirming
He said
it
he
here.
found it.
He
said
said he found it.
Hold on, is he Allah? When he says he, is that Allah?
Look,
Allah
did
is saying he found it.
Let me ask.
Hold on.
Did
When he
Allah
says
say
he, who's the
found
he? Is the he Allah or is the he Dhul Qarnayn?
Did Allah say that Dhul Qarnayn found it?
Yeah, he found it setting into a murky pond. Just like if I say, I found the sun setting into the ocean.
Where does it say from his perspective?
It doesn't need to say that. Obviously,
Because
who
Allah
else's perspective is it going to be? Who
doesn't
else's
say
perspective is it going to be? It's
Allah's.
obvious.
It's Allah's. It's the Quran. It's Allah's. If you
doesn't
wanted
say
somebody
perspective.
else's
Hold on.
perspective,
You guys haven't answered this one time. Who is the he? Is the he Allah or is the he Dhul Qarnayn?
It's
Allah
Dhul Qarnayn.
is giving the person.
You guys just gave different answers. Is it Allah or Dhul Qarnayn?
He
Allah.
is Dhul Qarnayn. I wasn't saying he is Allah. I'm saying this was revealed by Allah. This is Allah's.
Okay,
plan,
so
not
who
where
found
it's
it setting into a
Not
murky
Dhul
pond?
Qarnayn's.
Dhul
According
So
Qarnayn.
who
to
found it setting
Allah-
into a murky pond? Okay, so if Dhul Qarnayn found it, then it's from his perspective.
And
No.
Allah affirms that he says he found it. He says
Allah
this
is
is what
saying he
happened.
found it.
Allah said that he found it as if it's a fact. He is
He's saying he
affirming
found
this.
Can I
Why
Allah
is
didn't-
this
hold
so
on.
hard for you
Hold
to
on,
grasp?
listen. Hold on, because the way that you just worded that, it's as if Allah said, "Hey, me, Allah, I found it setting into a pond." It doesn't say that.
Let me ask you something.
The wording of what she just said, that's basically what she just said. I know she didn't mean it, but your wordings are correct.
One
How do
quick
you
question.
read? How do you read anything?
One quick
Allah's not
question.
saying-
If there was a verse in the Quran that said Muhammad was walking in Mecca and he found a camel tied to a tree, would you tell me that that was Muhammad's perspective? He thought he found a camel tied to a tree,
Of
or is
course.
that plainly telling us that this is what happened? Allah tells you.
Of course, that's from Muhammad's perspective. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Of course, that's from his perspective.
Allah's
Let me ask you this.
reporting what
If
happened.
I know, but if Allah said Muhammad saw the camel tied to a pole, that's from his perspective. That's from Muhammad's perspective. Now, is it true? Hold on. Is it true that the camel was tied to the pole? Yes, it is. Now, is it true that the sun was setting into a murky pond? No, it's not, because it's from his perspective. That's what he saw. He saw it setting into a murky pond.
This is duct tape. This is nonsense what you're talking. Here, Allah
Well-
plainly tells you the sun goes into the bottom of this water and that this man found it there. He found the actual location. Allah's telling you this, that this is so, which proves the Quran is false. Allah's a false God and Muhammad didn't know what he was talking about. And you won't let that stand. So you keep trying to put duct tape on this with the phony perspective excuse.
It's
If
not
you
duct
think
tape.
we don't-
It's literally what it says.
No,
No,
it's
it's
literally what it
not.
not says. It doesn't say that literally. You are literally changing what it says, my friend. Why don't you just admit the Quran is false, Muhammad's a false prophet and a pervert, and you come to the Lord Jesus Christ for salvation? Why don't you do that?
You're already an
Listen,
ex-Muslim
here's one
according
thing,
to
yeah?
Sharia.
Here's one
You've
thing,
already
yeah?
apostatized.
Atheism is rubbish. That's nothing, okay? The only two religions that I would say could stand up to truth is Christianity and Islam, okay? Judaism, they're not even an evangelical religion. They're not calling us to Judaism. The only two religions that call us to become that religion is Christianity and Islam. And Christianity has too many problems.
That's what you claim, but we showing you Islam as this is just the tip of the iceberg of the problem.
Like, you want me to come to Jesus? Do you want me to come to Jesus or the Father?
Go to
We want you to come to the one true triune God, Yahweh.
Right.
One or three?
One God, three persons.
Right.
Okay, so how can there be three persons but one God? Explain that logically.
How can there be
Okay, so
three,
first
how
of
can there
all-
be a Quran? How can there be a Quran that has different
Tangent.
Arabic words in Morocco, where they banned the other one because of the different Qurans. That's one Quran, the Kalun Quran. The most popular one is the Warsh Quran. And then you also have the Duri Quran. That's 3 different Qurans. How many Qurans is that?
We don't believe that they're different Qur'ans. What you're saying is that they're styles
right?
of recitation. Hold on, they're styles of recitation. But let's bring it back to the Trinity.
No. Okay, yeah, no. We're right here. 3 different recitations. How many Qurans?
One Qur'an.
Okay, 3 different persons, one God, bro.
How can there be 3 different persons
How can
and
there be
only
3
one
different-
God? If there's 3 persons,
God.
huh?
God. That's how. Do you believe in the
What do you mean?
attributes of God?
How can
Wait,
God
hold
be?
on.
Hold on. The attributes are not separate from God. The attributes are not separate from God. Hold on.
They're not separate.
Listen.
Wait.
What do you mean they're not separate? You believe that the Father is not the Son is not the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is not the Father, but they are one.
You cannot misdefine the Trinity. They're not separate. They're one in nature and substance. 3 distinct persons. Now, let me ask you something.
Yeah, okay. Just like all of us share a nature in humanity, but we're still different people.
If I said God has 3 attributes, would you disagree with that?
No, God has many attributes.
Can you separate God's wisdom from his love or his justice or his holiness? Are these separate or are they fully the expression of the nature and attributes of God?
No, they're all God. They are, that is God, one God.
They're not exactly the same, and yet they're one. They cannot be divided, correct?
Yeah.
So that would be an analogy to the Trinity. Now, let me give you one more example. Mathematically, 1 times 1 times 1 is what?
Obviously 1.
Okay, so yet there's 3 distinct ones, and yet they are 1. So in one sense, logically, hold on, you look at that and you go, how can that be? And yet we know it's true, even though there's a part of it that can be mystifying to us. We're talking
about but look, let's say
God.
Right.
All right, look, but let's say I said, okay, me, I'm Zach, and then there's King James, and then there's Ronnie. 1 Zach times 1 King James times 1 Ronnie equals 1. You would never accept that. Never.
Okay, there's 3 persons, but we're still why?
Right. Let me say this.
Why?
Okay.
Because
why?
It's called a category error. You made a false comparison. We're different people. We're not united together in one nature. Okay, we're talking about God from all eternity.
Hold on, you just said different people. So is there 3 persons or 1 person of the Trinity?
We're actually different people. But what we're telling you is
okay. But is the Trinity 3 persons, 3 people, or 1 person?
So I have a question. Is God
just fumbled that? All right, yeah.
Like this, you say, how can the 3 be 1?
This question matters.
Wait, let Elle ask her a question.
Is God unlike anything in creation? Yes or no?
Yes, he's unlike anything.
Okay, cool. Yes,
so then that means
perfect.
That if God exists in a way that's different than me having 1 person within my being, that's not unexpected for God to be different than the way we are. Now I'm going to ask you another question. This light, this has existence or being, right? The fact it's existing, right? This has being, right? Right?
Yep.
Right? Okay. Does it have personhood?
No.
Right. I'm a human being. We're stepping up 1 in the way things are. I'm a human being. Human beings have 1 person for each being.
Yeah.
Right. What we're saying is that God, since he's different than anything else in creation, it's not illogical for God, who's different than everything else, to exist as 1 being that's 3 persons. If he's unlike anything in creation,
it is illogical, and I can tell you why.
You already
you
told
believe
us
that Jesus
God is unlike anything in creation.
Jesus, I agree, but God is not the author of confusion, and he doesn't contradict himself. Now, hold on. If God came down as a man, why is that impossible? At least from the Islamic paradigm, why is that impossible?
I'm not judging based on the Islamic paradigm.
Okay,
I
fair.
believe
I'll tell
that
you
God
why it's
absolutely
impossible.
can take on humanity to his divinity and did
Trinity.
and proved it.
Yeah, we
I'll
don't
God
tell you
believe
why
that
can
God
it's
do
is
it.
impossible.
God is
I'll tell
powerful enough to do it.
Is God unlimited?
Yes.
And is a human limited or unlimited?
Here's the question: if God
Hold on,
wanted
no,
to,
answer. Is a human limited or unlimited?
God can
Okay.
add, and God is so powerful that he can add a human nature to his divine essence without ceasing to be God, because he can do anything.
That what you're saying is a contradiction. It doesn't logically follow.
No,
Is a
how
human
is it a
limited or
contradiction?
unlimited? It's a yes or no question, like what you guys done to me last time. It's a yes or no question. Is human
Our
limited or unlimited?
Okay, so
our divine God took upon himself like limited humanity onto himself so that he could die on the cross.
So God was limited.
No, God was
No.
not. He
You,
took
you just
Muslim.
said he
upon.
took on a
He
limited form.
added. What does took on mean?
Added. He added.
okay. So Muslim, let's
So he limited it himself. That's literally what you're saying.
and
You can
Muslim,
add
let
it
me
all
give
you
you an
want.
analogy.
You can add it all you want. A human is fundamentally limited, while God is fundamentally unlimited.
I'll try this, and then I'm.
It doesn't make sense to say that God needed to eat, God needed to poo, God needed to. He had these limitations.
Muslim, I'm gonna share
to.
something. Yeah, so
No,
I'm
he
gonna share
can't. He can't
something.
logically contradict himself.
Muslim,
It's
I love
outside
how
of his
you do.
nature.
I love how you
Can
can
God
say
become?
what God
Hold on.
I love
Can
how
God
you
become
can
Satan?
say, I love how you could say God
Muslim.
can or cannot do anything.
No,
but
because it would
Can
be
God
immoral.
become Satan?
No, because it would be immoral. But God becoming
Oh,
a
why are you
man.
limiting God? Why are you limiting God?
Hold on. But God becoming a man
Okay,
is not
I don't
immoral.
think Muslim is out over here wanting to like.
Hold on. Why can't God do immoral things?
Because he's holy. He's perfect,
He's
unlike
good.
Allah.
So why are you saying what God can and can't do, like what apostate of Allah said?
No,
Okay,
we're saying
I will answer, but please no more interrupting from anybody for a little bit, okay? We are not saying that we are putting conditions on what God can and cannot do. He is good and holy, holy, holy. He will only do things that are within his character. He will not do things that are in contradiction to his character. He will not do the evil things that the Islamic Allah claims to do, claims to enforce, claims to teach. So
Red herring, but continue.
humanity is not outside of his moral character if he's capable of taking on humanity and living a sinless human life. If he took on a sinful human life, that would be outside of his character. He would not do something that violates his character, but he's very capable of adding on humanity to his divinity. Okay, and here's an analogy, and I do want to preface, we are talking about God, who I affirm is unlike anything in creation in at least some ways. I do think that we are created in his image, but we also know that he is far greater than us. And so analogies are imperfect, but I do want to share this. If I, for example, was a video game creator and I programmed a video game, I created this world in this video game with lots of characters and all that, and I wanted to play my video game, I could create a character for myself, take on that video game nature. I could have it so that I jump when I hit spacebar. I could have that I run when I hold down the shift bar and arrows. I could do all of these things, and I can make it so that I couldn't do certain things with certain keyboard commands. Does that limit me from, as a human being, getting up and running without doing that? Does that stop me
No,
from
it doesn't.
getting up and jumping without doing that? Exactly. So adding
No, it doesn't. Of course
humanity
not.
does not limit his divine essence, but he can choose to act within the human essence as well. So I can choose, if I'm a video game creator and I'm playing as a video game character in my own world that I created, I could choose to only jump when I hit spacebar. I could choose to only run when I hold down shift in the arrows. But if I wanted to, I could just get up and jump. And if I wanted to, even within the video game, I could just reprogram whatever I want and do whatever I want. But I could also choose to play within the world that I created, and
Right.
within the rules that I already created, within the laws of logic, within not logic. That's like not what I was trying to say, but within the scientific ways that
Look, I
were
understand what
put
you're saying.
forward. So
And
so there's
God-
no logical inconsistency. There is nothing illogical about God, the creator of this world, the creator of all of the characters or whatever in this imperfect analogy, taking on humanity and living as a human who is also God.
Yeah, and you believe that Allah
Listen,
limits
you
his
said a lot.
power. No, Allah limits his power by the fact that, like, he reveals himself to the, like, if he were to reveal all of himself, then the mountains would explode. He hides and he puts himself behind a veil, limiting his power all the time. God can limit his power. He could do that.
Listen, hold on. That's a tangent. I can address that, but I can only address one thing at a time. Okay.
No,
She said,
your original concern was
hold on.
limitation.
Related.
hold on.
It's the same
You
point.
said God is good, right? Yeah. And Jesus is good, yeah? Because he's God. He has to be good, right?
He said he's the good shepherd.
Yes.
Okay. So why in a verse does Jesus say he's talking to someone and he says, "Why do you call me good? There's none that is good but the one in heaven."
Right.
I can
Exactly.
answer
Yes, and he did not
So
reject.
he's saying, "I'm not good. Don't call me good."
Nope.
That,
No,
he
he
didn't say
that.
I'm not
You're
good.
adding
He
that.
didn't.
He's asking, why do you
Why
call
do you call me good?
Right. He's not saying that he's saying he's not good. He's asking the person, why is it that you call me good when no one's good but God? Attributing that since you are calling me good, you are associating me with God. It's like when you
Yeah.
say it's not good.
And by the wording of the verse, he's disassociating himself from that. Why do you call me good? There's only one good, the God in heaven.
And so if he
He
is good,
he
he
didn't
is
point to
God.
himself as well.
If he
But
if he is good, then he's God.
but he's negating himself as good.
Jesus
Why didn't
not.
he just say, "Yes, I am good"?
Is Jesus
Why didn't he
good?
just say that? He said, "Why do you call me good?" So in other words, if you say, hold on, if you say, "Hey Zach, you're a monkey," okay, I'd be like, "Why are you calling me a monkey? There's only monkeys that are flying around in the tree." That's not affirming that I'm a monkey. That's disassociating from the fact that I'm a monkey.
Not. It's the same reason why Jesus would heal people sometimes and tell them, don't tell anyone. Why did he do that?
I don't know. Why did he do that?
See, that's your answer. See, you don't know in either case. Jesus had a reason why he said that in a specific way. And if you didn't look at it through a Muslim lens, you'd realize there could be another reason why he said that exactly the way he did. Reasons
Hold
why
on. An atheist could read that and come to the conclusion that I'm coming to.
All right, guys, I do need to hop off.
Me too.
All right.
this has been a blessing.
Yeah.
And to get to know some on fire people here, brother Ronnie, God bless you, all of you. This has been great. And we've been at it for what? Has this been 6 hours or more?
Something
Four
like
and a
that.
half hours.
Almost 4.5 on this stream, and sometime before that on.
Hey, Muslim, we
Unstable
love
Left.
you. We've all given you a lot of our time. We believe
Yeah.
the blood of Jesus can wash you of your sin and bring you into the family of God. I just want you to know that.
Yeah. And
Listen, I appreciate you giving me your time. I honestly do. I really like you guys. You guys are very
All right.
you guys
I
are very
wanna
easy
say
to talk to.
I want to say something to Muslim. I can get passionate and whatever and all that other stuff, but it's for real. The Lord knows my heart for you. I love the Muslim people. For me not to love them will be a hypocrite because I was one. So I genuinely do love the Muslim people, and I genuinely do want to see you come to the Lord Jesus. And if I was annoying in any way, I'd be like that sometimes.
No,
Anyway.
look, that's all right. Like, these topics get heated. It's how it is. I assume you're Arab, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got that
I'm
fire.
Arab too. I'm
Okay.
Lebanese. That's how we are when we talk about these things. We get fired up. It's very heated discussions, and it's fine. I'm more than happy to have heated discussions, calm discussions. I'm easy either way.
All right, guys. God bless all of you.
All right, I gotta go too. See yous.